Man follows earth, earth follows sky, sky follows Tao, Tao follows nature. These common pills, I grant you. Hereafter, you may craft more yourself at the shrines.
Hello there, welcome back to another episode of Arcade with Alvin, where today we're going to be making the Evil Repelling Medicament from Black Myth Wukong, one of the best games to come out this year. Now, the medicine you can craft in the game seems to have roots in Chinese herbal medicine. One, this is a Chinese-based game, based on the Journey to the West folktale that I personally grew up with and many other kids that probably had it told by their grandparents. Because of its historical setting back in the ancient China, I'm guessing that the herbal medicine thing is a real byline. So in order to acquire the necessary ingredients to make medicine like this, we must go to an institution that carries a long history and variety of these herbs.
I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this episode and supporting the BCU from the very beginning. I'm excited to announce my new website, babi.sh, or as I like to call it, babby.sh, the ultimate destination for all things BCU. There's all the recipes from my videos, exclusive new recipes. You can search by genre or ingredient. You can even toggle between US and metric and scale the serving size. We heard your feedback about everything you wanted from the site, so that's what we did. You can get 10% off your first Squarespace order by visiting squarespace.com/babish.
Tony and I went to Kamwo in Chinatown, New York, which sells a lot of these kinds of things. Upon entering, it's more like an apothecary. They have these beautiful wooden drawers on the shelves where hundreds of little herbs and dried powders can be found within, but you don't know which one is which, yet somehow the staff know because they've memorized everything. They weigh and measure everything the old school way, with a scale and markers to indicate how much each item is. There's a lot of unique ingredients that both I've seen growing up and also I haven't seen. But the most interesting thing is probably the smell of herbal medicine shops. If you've grown up or went to or even walked past one of these, there's a very significant, strong smell that comes out of it. It's not a bad thing, just very medicinal. But from the game, we've picked out 5 different medicines and potions, you might say, to craft. Each of them requires 2 herbal medicine ingredients each, and we were able to find them at this shop. And here is our haul. The interesting thing is finding the real life version of the game ingredient. So first we have purple lingzhi, or like a reishi mushroom looking thing. Then we have jade lotus, so we acquired some lotus stamen. Then we have fire bellflower, which is also known as jiegan. Then we have zhentian, or that's just how it is in the game too. Followed by that there is licorice, so we got some licorice root. And finally some fragrant jade flowers, which I personally foraged at the top of one of the highest mountains I could find, aka the second floor of Andrew's apartment, because there's some flowers there and it looked pretty good. And finally, to brew this medicine, we have acquired an ancient cast iron kettle from none other than Wukong's ancestors themselves. Look, there's his mom and dad right there on the kettle. Alright, I'm having some troubles in the game because I keep losing to these bosses, so maybe drinking these medicines in real life will also help me out. First up, the Evil Repelling Medicament, which is said to increase damage reduction for quite a long duration. The recipe is simple: jade lotus and licorice root. So I'm going to prepare this somewhat similar to how you might see herbal medicine prepared in China. To be fair, we are following a game recipe, so there's not really much to go off of, so please do not consider this an actual guide to make herbal medicine. I'm putting the jade lotus and the licorice root into the kettle. Measurements are 1 liang, or 1 liang in Chinese terms, about 31 grams of each. These do need to soak in the teapot with about 2 to 3 cups of water for about 15 minutes or so, just to hydrate a little bit, and then we're going to bring this over to the stove, cover it up, bring this to a boil. We simmer this for a total of about 10 minutes, which I thought was an adequate benchmark to extract some flavor, even though each individual root, herb, powder, anything you name it, has an optimal extraction time. Then we're going to strain this one out like tea into a glass so we can see the color of it. This one has a really nice smell, very homey, almost like a sweet cinnamon punch in a way. Now in the game this comes in a little jade gourd, so we found a not super similar but kind of similar jade vase to pour this into as a decorative vase but also a drinking vessel. Okay, let's give this a taste. Oh, surprisingly this is really sweet. It must be from the licorice root that has the natural sugar that comes out in the water, but this actually tastes quite good, not like medicine at all, which is a shock considering all the Chinese herbal medicine that I drank growing up tasted so bad my parents had to literally choke me with it, because I started crying. Here, Kendall said her stomach wasn't feeling too well, so maybe this will help her too. Here she is. Let's see if this works. Kendall clearly dislikes the taste of this medicine, but it's okay. It's not for everybody. Okay, now that I've got my damage reduction buff, let's move on to another medicine. The next one is the Body Fleeting Powder, which has the recipe of purple lingzhi and a celestial pear. So the lingzhi is the mushroom that we got. It's very dry and very tough. So I'm going to cut this up into little pieces. It's really squeaky when you cut it, almost like really dried up styrofoam. Then we're going to cut up a celestial pear, which is just one of the Asian pears that are really expensive. We're going to use one of those. And then we're going to put that into the teapot and let that soak for 15 minutes and boil this and simmer this for another 10 minutes on the stove until fragrant and aromatic. Upon straining this liquid into our vessel, we can tell that it is clearly a lot darker and thicker in color than the previous one, mostly because of the mushroom that is providing that dark brown viscous hue. Not sure why this is called a powder. This is clearly a liquid, but we will, anyways, we're going to pour this into a gourd because that is how it is served. Okay. Then we're going to give this a taste. This is so bad. This is, I did not think Chinese herbal medicine could taste worse in my childhood memories, but yet here we are. This is bitter. This is bad. I want to flee from this powder as fast as I can. Well, apparently in the game, the effects of this is that after you drink this, all actions cost no stamina. And that makes sense because you're too distracted by how bad this tastes that you don't really notice anything else. Anyways, we're gonna drink this medicine, no matter how bad this tastes, and put this to the test. Save the gourd, just in case I need it for combat, and I'm going to go fight with my trusty pole, that is totally not just a broom. I have returned from battle. I got clapped pretty hard, so I think I need some more medicine to help me win. We are next moving on to the shock quelling powder, which apparently removes the shocked state and increases shock resistance for a certain duration, because that is how I felt when I got destroyed by that boss. The recipe is simple: Zhentian and Jade Lotus. Going to put 31 grams of each into a pot, roughly. Soak that for 15, boil and simmer that for another 10, and then strain that out. Now, this one looks kind of nice. It's kind of like apple juice. Let's go ahead and pour a little bit into this cup to give this a taste. Somehow this tastes even worse than the previous medicine. I did not know that was possible, and yet this is not a shock to me at all. Not only does my body want to flee from this medicine, it is so bad I am truly shocked by how far Chinese medicine will go to not taste good. It's no wonder that increases your shock resistance, because you can't be shocked if your body is already full of electricity of bad tasting medicine. Woo! Nevertheless, let's pour it in a little fancy vessel for combat and drink a little bit more just to prepare to fight that boss again. I've once again returned from a defeat in combat. It seems I'd need more medicine to continue to go back. Next up is a body warming powder, which has the recipe of a jade lotus and fire bellflower. This apparently removes the chilled state and increases chill resistance for a duration. So we're going to take our jiegun, which is the dried version of the bellflower, and we're going to add some of our lotus stamen. We're going to soak that for 15 minutes, simmer for another 10, and once that is nice and aromatic, we're going to strain that out into our vessel. Now this one is the clearest and lightest of them all so far, and actually quite fragrant. I do enjoy the smell of it. Almost smells like a really nice floral tea. Upon tasting, it's definitely not as bad as the other ones. Still kind of bad though. Definitely not great. Would not want to continue drinking this, but my body feels warmed up a little bit, but mostly because I am consuming a hot liquid. But now after consuming these medicines, there really is a function of no pain, no gain when it comes to my ancestors' way of healing themselves. Okay, we're going to somehow pour this into our magical little brass gourd, pretty portable for combat, and off to battle we go once more. For whatever reason, I keep losing these fights. Definitely not because I'm playing on a trackpad and on a controller, but anyways, we are going to try our last medicine, the Longevity Decoction, which is licorice root and jade flower. It's supposed to increase your max health for a long duration, something I definitely need because I'm getting one shot. We're going to soak our licorice root and this jade flower for about 15 minutes, simmer this on the stove for another 10, and strain it out and pour it out and see what it looks like. Now this one is actually quite mild. It's actually, I would say, the second best tasting one, which is not a compliment given that most of them taste like pure poison. Maybe I cooked these wrong. Anyways, this is my fifth and final medicine, so surely we don't lose here. I have now returned after losing. I think maybe the other 4 medicines, the duration of the buff ran out, so I think I need to consume all 5 of these in their respective containers at the same time to make sure that I enter battle fully buffed up and ready to go. At this point, I have max damage reduction and resistance to shock, heat, anything that tastes bad apparently, and I have lots of health, so I probably should win this one. Wish me luck on my journey to the west, and I hope I can beat this boss with my USB steering wheel.
Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. From websites to online stores to domains to analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for you to build your online presence. All of my websites over the years have been with Squarespace, and I'm excited to share the new one, babi.sh. We were able to use Squarespace's website builder and custom integrations to create a site that provides a powerful cooking experience. If you want to try Squarespace for yourself, you can start your free trial today by visiting squarespace.com/babish to get 10% off your first purchase.